Hey there guys, so my last trip before the lockdown took place was the best of the Serengeti, and I had hosted this alongside Johan van Zyl. And to me, the entirety of the trip was an absolute highlight because, I mean, what's not to love about the wilds of Tanzania, the crater, the Serengeti, and in my opinion, just like seeing the crater for the first time was absolutely mind-blowing. I knew it was big, I knew the views were spectacular up from the viewing points, but I had, like in my wildest dreams, could never have imagined how massive and how beautiful this place is. Another thing that really stood out was seeing the opposite end of the Great Migration. I was so used to seeing river crossings, feeding and mating in the Masai Mara, whereas now in the Serengeti it's the total opposite end of the spectrum. This is where the wildebeest now give birth to newborn babies, and hopefully these little ones would make it through the year and make their way all the way into the Masai Mara during the months of August through to September and so on. It was just great really seeing the opposite end of the spectrum there, and that really stood out. Another big thing that was really a big highlight was tree climbing lions of Ndutu. The trees in the area are just absolutely beautiful, and when you have a big amber colored fat cat, if I may, because most of their bellies were full, sitting up in this tree, I mean, it's just such a beautiful scene. And we got to see cats jumping into trees, relaxing, sleeping in trees, and jumping out of trees. So we got the best of, if I may, all three worlds when it came to the lion activity within Ndutu. It was really special. But to be honest, this whole safari was probably one of the most challenging safaris I've ever hosted in my life. The reason being is because we had to face some of the most brutal weather conditions that Mother Nature could have thrown at us, and this was just endless downpours of rain, so it made traversing, moving around quite difficult. So a big highlight was that we all got out alive with all our belongings and in one dry piece. But also it was, I think, the safari that I kind of hold, or how can I say this, it's a safari where I had managed to capture one of the funniest moments ever, and one of my funniest safari moments ever. And this was while we were out on lunch in Ndutu at this beautiful watering hole, hippo birds. It's a stunning and scenic area. And Johan still warned us, because he's obviously traveled to this area before, and he's like, guys, please watch out, the birds come down, swoop in, and they will grab your food out of your hands. And he clearly didn't practice what he preached, and I was about 2 or 3 seconds, or not even a second too late of pushing record on my phone, and this kite came flying literally over my head. I just felt this gust of wind like straight over me, and Johan was walking towards the front of the vehicle, and he had his steak roll in his hand, and as he was bringing it up to his mouth, this kite just destroyed his sandwich, took off with a piece of it. And Johan obviously quickly made his way back into the vehicle to continue enjoying his lunch in there. So honestly, one of the most difficult safaris I've had to host due to forces of nature, but it's also been one where I was fortunate enough to create everlasting memories and share my love, knowledge and passion with great people from all around the world.